Kadosh, Erev Tov, Kinyan Masechta, Masechet Taanit Daf Amud Aleph. We are going to be doing a very quick chazara on that which we learned last week, and then we're going to be continuing. The Gemara said, and this is where we were last week, where we started by saying, Amar Rabba bar Chana. Says Rabba bar Chana. Lama nimshelu divrei Torah kaesh. Why is it that the words of Torah compared to a fire? So says Rabbi bar Chana, why is it that the words of Torah are compared to fire? Shneimar, because it says in a pasuk, lo chod devari kaesh, because so are my words. You see, devarim is like esh. Ya neum Hashem. So says Hashem, lomar lecha, to tell you, ma'esh eno dole kechidi. When you want to light a fire, you don't light one single piece of wood on its own. You come and you light a few pieces of wood together. So too, divrei Torah mikamim b'chidi. So too, the words of Torah, they're not going to be mitkayim by itself. What does that mean? If you're by yourself, you need aritcha doraita, you need chavruta, you need to be betzavta. Tzavta means betzevet, with a group. When you're with a group together, you come learning. Kinyan Masechta, you start breaking your head, you start learning. There's a shiur, there's back and forth. That's when you're going to be learning Torah. V'hainu da'amar Rabbi Yosef bar Chanina. And that's what the Yosef bar Chanina says. My dictive, what does it mean when it's written in the pasuk? Cherev el abadim v'noalu. There should be a sword to the ones which are badim, which we're going to explain v'noalu. Cherev al sonen shel tamidei chachamim. There's going to be a cherev, a sword to the enemies of tamidei chachamim. Remember, it's a euphemism. Lashon saginaor, the opposite. Sheoskin ba bevad ba Torah, that they're learning by themselves Torah, which means that instead of coming and they're learning together, they're learning by themselves. And not only that, not only do they have the cherev, they become tipesh. Yeah? They become foolish. Shneimar, but it says in a pasuk, v'no'alu. What is v'no'alu? They become foolish. V'lo'od, and not only that, ela shechotin, but they sin. Ketiva but it's written v'no'alu, uchtivata v'sheno'alu v'shechadanu. So it's a sin. So you've got, they have a sword, they are foolish, and they're sinning. So these are the three things. If you want, you have another place also. How do we know that v'no'alu is talking about tipshut, right? It's also of tipshut of doing a sin, not only just stam tipshut, but tipshut of a sin. Because it says in a pasuk in Yeshaya, no'alu saret Zion hitu et Mitzrayim. No'alu, there is the tipshut which is making a mistake, which is turning away. Toeh baderech, right? Hitayu, right? It's hitu et Mitzrayim. Okay, v'amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, it says of Nachman bar Yitzchak, lama nimshelu divrei Torah ka'et. Why is it that the words of Torah are compared to a piece of wood? Shneimar, but it says in a pasuk, etz chayim hi. Yeah, lama chazikim ba. What does that mean? It's a tree of life for those that grab onto it. If you grab onto the Torah, it's a tree of life. What does that mean? Lomar lecha, to tell you, to teach you that what? Etz chayim, etz katam malikat gadol. Whenever you want to make a bonfire, what do? You take a small branch and you light the big ones, a small piece of wood, and you light the big ones. Right? Etz katam malikat gadol. So to tamidei chachamim ketanim mechadadim et hagedolim. So to tamidei chachamim, the smaller ones, they come and they sharpen, right? The bigger ones. V'hainu de'amar Rabbi Chanina, and that's what Rabbi Chanina says. Harbe lamadti merabotai mechaverai yoter merabotai umitalmidai yoter mikulan. So these are the words of Rabbi Chanina. Remember those words. Says Rabbi Chanina. Yeah, Rabbi Chanina. Harbe lamadti merabotai. I learned a lot from my rabbis. And my friends much more than my rabbis. And from my talmidim, I've learned more than everybody. So Rabbi Chanina bar Papa Rame. So Rabbi Chanina bar Papa comes, right? And he asked Remi, no, right? He asked a contradiction. Rame is a contradiction. It's written, Likrat sameh et hayumayim. Towards somebody that's thirsty, you have to bring the water. Anybody that's thirsty should go to the water. So make up your mind. Do you bring the water to the one that's thirsty, or do you bring the one that's thirsty to the water? So answers the Gemara, it all depends. Im talmid hagun hu. If it's going to be a talmid, which is a gun, which means that he's a student, which is a proper student, he's a good student. Na'eh b'ma'asav. That's what the Rambam says in Chotamut Torah. What does it mean? He's good. He's got good midot. So then likrat sameh tayumayim. It's a mitzvah for the rabbi to come and to bring it to the student, to come and to give him the water, to give him the Torah. But if not, no, then it has to be the talmid has to go to the rabbi, and the rabbi does not go to the student. Why? Because then you have to make it that the talmid is one that's doing the effort in order to go to the rabbi, and therefore maybe that will come and mellow him up in order that it should make him to grow in Torah. Rabbi Chanina bar Chama Rabbi, and this is now where we are starting today. So Amar Rabbi Chanina bar Idi, says Rabbi Chanina bar Idi. Yeah, Rabbi Chanina bar Chama. Sorry, Rabbi Chanina bar Chama comes and he asks the contradiction. Ketiv, it's written Yafutsu mayunotecha chutza. I'm sure you've heard of this. The rabbis use this a lot. That they say that your mayanot, a mayan is like the springs. So your springs should spread out, yafutsu, they should go out, chutza, outside, which means that all the sitre Torah, the hidden parts of the Torah, should be novea mincha, they should flow out from you, which means teach the Torah. Uchtiv, but it's written, yu lecha levadecha, it should be only for you yourself. So I don't understand, are you supposed to teach sitre Torah, or are you supposed to keep it for yourself? Decide. What are you supposed to do exactly? So says the Gemara, im talmid hagun hu, if it's going to be, it's a talmid hagun, yafutzu meinotecha chutza. So then it should go out. What does that mean? If it's a proper student, again, we're going back on the proper student, doctor. Yeah, again, if the student is proper, teach him, even sitre Torah, right? Yafutzu meinotecha chutza. Im lav, and if not, you lecha levadecha, it should keep it to yourself. Don't start teaching these things. Why? Because if it's not a proper student, better not to teach him. Yeah?
So what, you don't teach him?
Amar Rabbi Chanina bar Idi, says Rabbi Chanina bar Idi, Lama nimshelu divrei Torah lemayim. Why is it that the divrei Torah are compared to water? Yeah? So he comes and he says, why is it exactly? So he comes and he says like this. You know why it's compared to water? Tichtiv kol hoi kol tzameh lechul mayim. That was a pasuk that we just brought down yesterday. If he's tzameh, go to the water. Lomar lecha, to teach you. Mamayim manichim makom gavoa v'olechim lemakom namuch. Water by nature goes from the top part to the bottom part. We spoke about this before. I don't remember what the. So therefore, what the Gemara is actually coming and saying is that just like water goes always from a high place to a lower place. So to divrei Torah, en mitkaimin lemimi shedato shefela. What does that mean? That a person that's an anav, meaning only somebody that's an anav, is going to be zocheh, that the Talmud will be in his heart, in his hands, and he won't forget it. Yeah, the Maharsha actually is me'id, that the limud Torah is only by a davka and anav, is actually a remez in the pasuk of the Talmidim have to go to their rabbis. Okay, because that's what it says over here. So it's all mentioned that the Talmid should never think it's not his kavod to go to the rabbi, but obviously the opposite. He has to put himself down in order to come and to learn Torah. Another concept. Says Rav Ashaya, why is it that the divrei Torah were compared to three different types of liquids? Number one, mayim. Number two, yayin, right, wine. Chalav, and three is milk. Tichtiv says the pasuk hoi kol tzameh lechul mayim, that was water. Uchtiv, and it's written lechu shivru ve'echolu, go break and eat. Ulchu shivru v'lo ches v'lo mechir yayin v'chalav, and go and take without money and without buying what there's going to be wine and milk. So you see again, it's talking about everything here. This is all talking about the Navi in the Torah. That the Navi is talking about divrei Torah is like water. That just like water is found free, and a person comes to drink whenever he wants, so too the Torah is all there. It's all for free. That everyone is just coming and they're able to acquire it. Bechinam. So he comes and he says, "Lomar lecha, to teach you, ma shlosha mashkin alalu em mitkaimim ela bepachut shebakelim, af divrei Torah mitkaimim mi shedato shefela." What does that mean? It says over here that just like the three liquids, right? These three liquids have to be maintained in a very low form of a utensil, right? Inferior utensil, as we're going to see now the story. right? So too, the Torah is only going to be mitkayem in somebody that he is mamash ananav. He feels inferior. He feels right that he's a nobody. Just like the daughter of the Caesar told Rabbi Yoshua ben Chananiah. Remember this story? Beautiful story. Right? I chokhmah mefuara brate. Yes, Barte. Barte is the daughter. Right? I chokhmah mefuara bekli mechuar. Says what? You look what a disgrace. Chokhmah mefuara. Look how smart. Right? But she was saying, everyone knows that Rabbi Yoshua ben Chananiah was so smart. But it's in a kli mechuar. You're so ugly. You heard me?
Yes.
Yeah? Yeah? What does that mean? She said, what's going on? You're so ugly. Such a chokhmah and an ugly utensil. Amala, he went and he told her, Avichra mechamra b'mane de pachra? Says 1 second, the Caesar. How does he put the wine? Does he put it in a kli cheres? Cheres is earthenware. It's the worst of the utensils. So Amrale, she told him, Ela b'may nirmeh. So what do you want me to put it in? What do you want us to put the wine in? Amala, he says, 1 second. Atum de chashivtu. You guys are very chashuv. You guys are very important. The king, the Caesar. The mane dava v'kaspa. Why don't you put it in utensils made out of money as utensils? Out of dava zahav v'chesef. Yeah? Why don't you put it in zahav v'chesef? Put it in gold and silver utensils. So what did she do? She went and she told her father. Right? He was right. She went and she told her father. So Ramya lechamre b'mane dava v'kaspa. The takif. You know what happened? She went, she put it in the wine in the utensils of zahav v'chesef, in gold and silver. And then what happened? Takif. It became rotten. Yeah, it became rotten. So Atu ve'amrule, the servants, they went and they told the Caesar, look what happened. Amale lebarte. So he went and he told his daughter, Aywa. He says, Mana malachachi. Who was the chacham that told you to do such a thing? Yeah, who told you to do such a thing? So Amrale, she said, what? It was a rabbi. Yeah, always blame the rabbi. Yeah, it was a rabbi that said it. So can you? Yeah, so no, just to place it. Right? Nirme is nasim oto, not nishteh.
Okay. Lo lishtamesh bo.
Lo lishtamesh bo, nasim oto. So can you? They called him. Elmaleh, the Caesar tells Rabbi Yoshua, Amay amrat lahachi. Why did you say that to my daughter? Yeah, why did you tell my daughter to do this? Elmaleh, he told him, Ki hecha de amrali amlila. Exactly what she told me, I told her. Well, what's the problem? Right? What does that mean? Right? She went and she said, how could it be that there's a chokhmah mefuara in a kli mechuar? Right? I answered her. There's no difference in wine. What do? You do wine. It's the exact same thing. So therefore, just like the yain is going to be established in kilim mechuarim, so too chokhmah is going to be in kli mechuar. Listen to the daughter of the Caesar. Asks the daughter of the Caesar, Va'ika shapire de gemire. Says 1 second, you have handsome people, they're learning. What, you've never seen a Talmid Chacham that he's handsome? Yeah, they're all ugly? Yeah, they're all ugly. Yeah? So you know what he answered? Zayin Mubet, Ihavu Saneh, Tfei Havu Gemire. If they were ugly, they would have been smarter. They would have been even smarter. Now I'm going to learn with you guys a Tosafot. I'm going against the rules, so I'm already telling you that as a disclaimer from the beginning. I'm going against the rules, and I'm asking you for forgiveness. But the Tosafot on Zayin Amud Aleph says, Zayin Amud Aleph, the last Tosafot. Go to Zayin Amud Aleph, the last Tosafot says, Ihavu Sanu Havu Chakima Etfei. So did you realize that Tosafot had a better girsa? Because he had Ihavu Sanu Havu Chakim Etfei. Here it says Ihavu Sanu Etfei Havu Gemire. But it doesn't matter. It's the same, more or less idea. But what does Tosafot say? Pirush. Yeah, what does Tosafot say there? Pirush im hayu im hayofi. Yeah, what does that mean? If they would have hated the beauty, havu tamidei chachamim biyoter. You understand? Meaning, right? What does that mean? It means that if they would have hated beauty, right? That means they're wasting their time. They're coming with their hair and with the this and how they look and the this and that. If they would have hated all that for themselves, then they would have, no, not for the woman. The woman, that's beauty, right? It says, that, by the way, is the Tosafot, not like Rashi, because Rashi actually learns that he says that if they would have been ugly, they would have been able to remember better their Gemara, because if they would have been ugly, they wouldn't have been haughty. Remember, the people that they're handsome, many times they come and they think of themselves, they're this. So then what happens? So then they would have, but again, we learned that if they would, because of the anava, they would have remembered it. So that's why that's the pshat of Rashi.
So
So therefore, right, this is the explanation of how Yoshua ben Chania came and he actually answered up. So therefore, we see from here how important it is, the nefesh shefala, or we're talking about the person that is going to be humble, how important it is that the Torah will always be abiding by. Another explanation, just like these three liquids, they become pasul, they become bad when you don't watch over them, which means if you don't watch over them, they become bad. If you don't pay attention to the milk, to the wine, to the water, it becomes bad, right? All of a sudden it becomes disgusting that you can't drink it anymore. So too divrei Torah mishtachin be'esech hadat. So too divrei Torah are going to be forgotten be'esech hadat if you're not going to pay attention, right? To divrei Torah, you're also going to forget these things as well.